Right, good morning. Welcome back to the Arsenal podcast with me, Kosi. And of course, we'll be looking at three pieces of news this morning. Emi Martinez leaves Arsenal for good. £20 million is the deal. Goodbye, Emi. We'll be looking at Thomas Partey's new offer at Arsenal, really willing. And of course, the man in the title, Odsone Edouard. How far has Arsenal gone to sign their new striker? We'll be looking at all that. Just do one thing. Get this the likes smashed up. 200 likes today is the target. 200 likes is the target today. So make sure you've smashed the like button and you have subscribed as well. Let's get the party started. First piece of news yesterday, it was confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, confirmed by Charles Watts and other correspondents of Arsenal around the globe and around Europe that Emi Martinez has completed his move to Aston Villa. £20 million is what Arsenal is going to be bagging into their pockets so that the player can actually give the services to Aston Villa. It would be a very big loss. One of those players that have been at the club for the past 10 years. I've already said it that if Arsenal can keep both of our best goalkeepers, it would be the best thing. But finally, we can't do it. So Emi Martinez leaves the club for good, and the possible replacements are Areola as well as David Raya, the Brentford goalkeeper. Rumors have it that Arsenal have already found a replacement, but the best replacement Arsenal are looking at is David Raya, the goalkeeper at Brentford. So we are still waiting to see how things are going to be managed. But of course, all the fans around Arsenal and around the world have already said goodbye and see you. Of Emi Martinez, who shall be meeting in the Premier League for maybe in the FA Cup or something like that. We shall be meeting this season twice at the Emirates Stadium when Aston Villa comes at the Emirates Stadium, and of course when we go to the Villa back, we shall be meeting Emi Martinez again, but not as our player, this time as our enemy. It's something that really didn't come off so well for some of the fans. Most of the fans, they wanted him to stay, but nothing to do. There is nothing to do. Now again, Fabrizio Romano says Arsenal are preparing a new offer for Thomas Partey after selling Emiliano Martinez, and he said it very clearly that Arsenal will be going for Thomas Partey after selling Emi Martinez and Torreira. We are still working very hard to sell off some players so that we can actually get a top class midfielder, according to Fabrizio Romano. And of course, he said Arsenal will be getting in a new offer for Thomas Partey, as well as Odsone Edouard talks still progressing to see if Arsenal can actually get both of the players or at least one of them. So we are still waiting for that as well to see whether Arsenal are going to be putting in their new offer for Thomas Partey as soon as we can see. But of course, for me, as always I said on this show, I think Arsenal will go for Odsone Edouard. I think it's the easier deal. It can be paid in installments and so much, and so much more. I think it will be the easier deal to do for Arsenal other than Thomas Partey. If I look at what Odsone Edouard can provide to Arsenal, and then I look at how Thomas Partey can play for us, and I think Arsenal, at the end of the day, we might go for Odsone Edouard and leave Thomas Partey in the market. That's what I think, in my opinion. So we'll be looking at that. Let us wait for the new offer. According to Romano, he says we are going to sell Torreira as well. We are working hard to sell Torreira. We have sold Emi Martinez and probably some other few players to get them off the off the budget, off the wage budget, so that we can actually bring in more players. So let us see how that thing will actually be moving on. Third piece of news is Odsone Edouard. The player I want us to talk about today is the striker, French striker with Celtic, playing with Celtic. He scored 28 goals last season. Very highly rated striker, linked with Arsenal now. Actually, not only linked, Arsenal endorsed with Celtic to sign the player. We have offered two offers. One was rejected and the other is still pending. Now the first one was 16 million. You guys know that we had gone with 16 million initially for Odsone Edouard. However, that bid was rejected by Celtic. We went back with another 25 million plus 10 million in add-ons. Now 25 million would be the front cash, and the 10 million will be coming in add-ons. However, Celtic are saying they need a bigger offer. They need, bigger cash as front cash. So maybe the player could actually move to Arsenal at around 28 or 30 million, but the front cash, the front figure or the front cash is still the problem. Now, if you ask me, really need a player like Odsone Edouard, my answer is yes, because like I've already said, we are our front three are getting old. You have Willian, who's 32, you have Lacazette, who's 29, you have Aubameyang, who's 31. So you need to get in a player who can actually replace Aubameyang or replace Lacazette, a top quality player, before these two actually get very tired and or leave the club. Now, Odsone Edouard, one of those players that I believe can actually have a very big future in the Premier League, especially at Arsenal. One of those players that I believe if Arsenal got Odsone Edouard, you have another 15 goals, 17 goals, in the young lad, and then Aubameyang can give you another 20. That is almost 40 goals or 37 from two players. Then you have goals coming in from the wings and some goals coming in from the midfield. For me, I think it would be such a decent addition, especially one for the future when Alexander Lacazette or Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang leaves the club, and of course helping Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, because you cannot rely on goals for coming from one striker. What if he gets injured? All those things have to be thought about. And I think Odsone Edouard could be the right replacement of either Lacazette or Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I think it would be a very good addition. For me, I think it would be a very, very nice addition for Arsenal to get in someone like Odsone Edouard. 28, 30 million, that's very decent. He's 22 years of age. He scored 28 goals last season. There is no club that wouldn't want to go for him, and I think this is really good spotting from us. A striker who scores 30 plus goals in a season at Celtic. You bring him in the Premier League. That's how Virgil van Dijk came at Southampton. Now he's one of the best strikers in the league and in the world. Celtic has brought in some decent players. I remember players like Kisunien. I remember players like Virgil van Dijk. You can talk about Nakamura. You can talk about so many players that have come from Celtic. So I still believe Arsenal can make this transfer happen. The talks are still going on, and we are still waiting to see whether Celtic are going to be accepting that bid. 20 million plus some few add-ons, which they are saying should be the front cash figure should be bigger than that. Away from that, maybe we can talk about our performance in the weekend. Willian, what a performance, what a debut, 3 assists for one man, what a goal from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and what a debut for Gabriel Magalhaes. Everybody has talked about it. I talked about it in the match reaction. I talked about it in the player ratings. I think it was really, really superb. And something interesting from AFTV, they said, we should be sued by Lille for fraud because they gave us such a top class defender for 22 million, and I think this is how we should do business. Spend smart, not just spend anyhow. If we can get in someone like Odsone Edouard at another 28 million, that's almost 50 million for 2 top class young lads. Good for the future. You bring in a player like Hasemowa, who's going to be around 50 million. I think Arsenal are really going to be doing good business, and we might go back to the top club we were before. But anyway, I'll be dropping a transfer video about Thomas Partey and Hasemowa in 3 hours time, so make sure you check the channel in 3 hours time. I'll be dropping a transfer video. Have a nice morning.